Hello and welcome to the Breaking Free podcast. I'm your host, Nathan Francis, and today I'm very grateful and very humbled to be joined by Tegan Judd. Tegan and I connected, I don't know how anymore, it was like months ago. I
I
found,
know.
found you on Instagram, I think, and I just was like, oh, Medium, my brother's a Medium, as my listeners would know. Thought, oh, this would be cool to talk to another one and sort of have a chat about the spiritual stuff and how you got to where you were. And I was looking at your content, I was like, this is awesome. Tegan
Oh,
has given me an intro. I don't usually read intros. My listeners and viewers will know that. But today I am mixing things up and I'm going to read out the intro. So bear with me. Tegan is a gifted psychic medium and energetic mentor. She channels her passion into assisting others in unlocking their true potential and fostering personal growth. Her mission is to inspire and empower individuals by creating a sacred space for self-discovery. Tegan specializes in bridging the seen and unseen worlds, receiving messages from source to provide clarity and direction as individuals navigate life's intricate waves. That is an awesome intro, Tegan.
doesn't it sound? I sound so impressive in
You
it.
do, don't you? Almost like
I'm just
AI
a
wrote
normal
that for you.
person, but
Tegan, we just had an awesome half an hour just then. That was, yeah, you give me a lot of clarity. So for those out there, I've just had some clarity to move forward in my life. So if you're feeling a pull, Tegan, tell us about your story. Tell us about who you are, what you do, and everything weird, wacky, woo-woo, and wonderful about Tegan Judd, because I'm keen to hear it just as much as everyone else is. So let's go.
yay. Well, it's funny that how we even started like the first half an hour and we were talking about the woo-woo. And I'm like, you know what? Let's actually talk about it because there's so much stigma around the woo-woo. So
There is.
how my journey started, like a lot of people that I feel go through an awakening process and coming home to themselves, they can have a bit of a rough journey. We can dabble in like addictions, we can dabble in all different types of low vibrational things. And I was definitely one of them. I definitely engaged in my fair share of partying and substance abuse and all the things that went with that. But I would say my journey actually started when I was 6 years old and my dad passed away really quite suddenly. And that kind of at the age of around 6 to 8 is normally when a child's world starts to really encroach with that 3D programming from society, everything like that.
School.
School, indoctrination, everything like that. Whereas for me, that space was completely blown wide open.
Yeah.
So my intuition was always really quite strong from such a young age. I was connecting to spirit. My mum really encouraged me to do that. So I was seeing psychics and mediums and healers from when I was very young.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm so grateful that she had taken me down that path and really, because that was such an integral part of the grieving journey. And especially as a child going through any form of grief, we do not know how to process it. We still don't even know, even as adults, we don't know how to process grief. And so fast forward to COVID, like a lot of us, the beautiful divine gift of COVID awakening so many of us to our true paths. So I was in a job, very like matrix system. I was climbing that corporate ladder. I had we would call a sexy looking job. I had the mortgage. I had that car. I had all the things. My partner had a successful concreting business, and we basically are working at the same time. And we just went, okay, let's just sell everything that we own and buy a caravan, which is what we did.
It's unreal.
And we traveled around Australia. So I actually lived in the Sunshine Coast for about 6 months in a hippie commune, completely off grid. I virtually
Oh, cool.
cried every single day because I was purging so much guilt and shame and just carrying so much. And then I guess fast forward, there were so many other like intricate little bits, but I do not want to overwhelm with my whole story.
That's
But
okay.
basically, yeah, I actually found the medicine of cacao, which I think is such an integral part of it. And I started consuming cacao, drinking cacao, learning about it. And I felt called to do a shamanic training with cacao, which I did do that. And in that just completely opened me up to more realms and understanding my gifts and my message then, because I was so fixated on like, what am I here to do? What am I here to do? Why am I
Yeah.
going through this? And why? And actually, when I was having cacao, instead of focusing on the why, it taught me to focus on just the being present, the now. And there was one time where I had the cacao and I literally felt, and this is where it gets woo-woo, but I literally felt, I've connected with spirit beings, I've connected with past loved ones, but this actually, to me, I always work with the energy of God. I feel like there is the true creator, and that's what I connect with. There is nothing that's right or wrong. So for your listeners, Nathan, like, do not feel if you have a particular belief or anything, it's right or wrong. It's absolutely not. Everything is perfect. But for me, I will go that this was like, I just felt this higher frequency come in. And that energy basically had said to me, you are to deliver my messages of love and clarity, and that's it. And from then I went, okay, all right, I'll do that. And in that moment I decided. And from then the moment I launched, I virtually had been booked out for pretty much since I launched. I've been booked out around 3 to 4 months in advance. And now I have a wait list of, I think, about 400 people, which
Jeepers.
blows my mind. Like, I cannot, sometimes I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, how have I gotten here? But I just lean into that place of trust. I just am constantly trusting and unlearning my ego and unlearning the conditionings, and keep playing around with the two worlds, the 5D and the 3D. We can get stuck in the 5D. We can also get stuck in the 3D. And this is what's so fun about our humanness and our human expression, is that we get to play in both. And I want to play in fucking all of them, to be honest. So,
I love that.
That's probably like the quick-ish of my journey.
It's a pretty awesome journey. Yeah, I just want to focus on, I think you're right. Like, when I first awoke, I was very much, fuck the 3D, I'm going up there. But it's like,
yes.
And then you come down, and then you're in that for too much longer, and then it's finding that balance, right? It's just about that balance of everything. There are human things we need to do in the human world, but then there's also that other higher form of us that's floating around doing some cool shit too. It's like balancing that out.
Yeah, it's integrating the both of them.
That's the word I was looking for.
So. Yes. Yeah. I'm a psychic. I read mine. So
yeah, you read my mind. You knew what I was going to say. Good.
Yeah, it's like that integration of both. And I see this all the time with my clients, for me as well. Like, I had to really harness my gifts as like my 3D gifts, I would say, which would be like, able to market, able to hold, okay, this is my intuition, allowing that to lead, but then also having my ego sit behind that and go, okay, cool. So this is what we're going to do now. Because if you don't have both of those, we can get stuck in that 5D type of energy.
Very, very, interesting point. I just wanted to also ask you, so when you sort of was going through that, I guess, dark night of the soul, how did you sort of come across mediumship, or did it find you? Because usually it finds you, but yeah, how did that all come about?
Yeah, so I guess my mediumship, whether I knew that I was a medium, I've never called myself a medium until I fully stepped into this.
Yeah, fair.
Even though I could walk into a place and see someone's past loved one sitting on their shoulder or being with them, I wouldn't tap into that because I just didn't know how to hold that. And that's the other thing. It's like, sometimes we don't step into what we're supposed to be doing because we actually don't feel worthy to hold that. And that's also a part that I was going through. It was like, but in regards to the mediumship, to be honest, I would say that although mediumship is my foundation, my psychic and being able to see and feel and experience more was predominantly stronger during that time. I just had a sense of knowing. I just had this deep sense of knowing. So yes, I will share. It's funny because she actually came and visited me, which was my stepmother-in-law. And I haven't talked about her too much. This is the first time I'm actually talking about this publicly. So my stepmother-in-law actually passed during COVID. The cause of death was actually unknown. We really didn't know why she had passed. So it left a lot of questions. And my partner and I were up in Queensland at the time, and we came down, and I actually connected with her in her passing. And I was delivering messages to the family regarding where documents were, things that she wanted to let people know straight away because it was such a shock. And I remember distinctly that she had shared a message with me, which was, I help you, you help me.
Oh,
And that was such a key message that I have held onto this entire time, because she has been such a guide for me stepping into this more and more. And the moment all of that happened, that was really crazy for me, because I'm like, this was before I had that awakening with the cacao. This was before any of that. And I'm going, holy shit, I don't know how to navigate this. I don't know how to hold this. I'm scared. Like, I've got my family. It's not even someone else's family. I've got my family grieving. I'm grieving. And, I'm delivering these messages to my family. And so
wow.
I guess that was actually such an integral part of me stepping into that mediumship, because I just trusted. And those messages were so divinely supported, and they helped that healing process for all of us in so many ways. So yes, I just feel like sharing, if you ever get glimpses, and if you ever get that feeling that a past loved one's there, or say it. It's like, if you get that inkling or that intuitive pull to call one of your friends that you haven't spoken to in a long time, fucking call them, because you don't know what they're going through. You don't know what that message is and how it's going to impact someone.
Interesting.
I'll just share all of that.
No, thank you for sharing what you shared. But that last little bit of advice was like, as per usual with my podcast, hits home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, really. Yeah, that's a really awesome. I got nothing to say because you just made me ponder something just then.
Yeah.
That
What
always
came up
happens.
for you? Did something come up for you that you
Yeah,
want to
because you
share?
sort of said, if you see it or feel it, say it. That's something that I've had to really learn a lot in the last few years, because I do see it and I haven't necessarily said it. But
Mm.
yeah, it's something that I'm getting better at now, is actually saying it and just being like, well, that's what I see and feel. And that's the
Yeah.
truth to me. Whether that's the truth to Tom, Dick, and Harry, it's my truth.
Yep. And it's like the 3D way is like, oh, well, that doesn't make sense. Like, what you're just seeing something like poof from air. And it's like, yeah, but actually that is the truth. Like, that is anything that is connected with intuition is truth. The way in which we can find, oh, that's your perspective versus my perspective, is the ego. The intuition will never lead you astray.
That's
Never.
something I've gotten better at trusting, is that,
Yeah.
because mine's never led me astray. Even though I thought
Yeah.
I was never, ever led astray. Yeah, well said.
No.
That's powerful. Yeah.
Mhm.
Lots to ponder here for me at the moment. I can't imagine what my listeners and viewers are.
They're probably like, what? I need to
Yeah,
question
so
that.
yeah, so back onto the whole. So for you, how did you drop out of that ego consciousness into the heart-centered consciousness? Because that's a real interesting, I guess, discussion point.
This is like a huge topic,
I know,
huge.
right?
Because in the work that I do, I actually have realized that even people that want to connect with their intuition, it's actually easier to connect with your intuition than disassociate with your ego.
Yeah, okay.
So like, the intuition's easy. That's the easy part. Connecting that feeling, that even if you feel like you are the most unintuitive person ever, it's like you don't feel anything, you don't hear anything. Bullshit. You absolutely do. You're just too much in your ego. That's my belief. And that's what I've experienced and known to be true with my clients and with my own journey.
It's interesting because that same person will say, "Oh, that I felt that like that was going to happen, and then it happened anyway," or like they say those comments about that sort of stuff, and it's like, well, that is your intuition. You making that comment was your
Yeah.
intuition.
Yep.
And a lot of
Absolutely.
people would resonate with that, because everyone finds themselves saying that. Even the most asleep person will still say,
Yep.
"Oh, I shouldn't have gone there, or I shouldn't have gone that way, or I shouldn't have had that rotten banana."
Or I had a
Or
gut feeling. I had a gut
yeah, I
feeling.
had that feeling. Yeah. It's like we've all got that innate intuition, but we're so conditioned and so programmed that we don't listen to it, and it's not real. It's our imagination, or it's whatever.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And it's like, if I had questioned that, even with my stepmother-in-law, like if I had questioned that, I mean, she did give some pretty way out signs. Like she pulled off, the blinds, like the roller blinds. She pulled that off onto the ground. And I was like, okay, no problem. That's fine. All right. I get that you're here. Yep. You're here. Yep. Okay. Okay. And I've had some pretty incredible, like, spirit shows up in some pretty incredible ways. And that really went, okay, I can't unsee that. And that was, I guess, her way of pulling in all of her energy and going, hey, I'm here. You need to listen to me. And literally when she did that, I was like, okay. See, that's the thing. It's like, if I didn't listen to that, I would have stopped. Like, what gives me the right to stop other people in their healing journey?
Exactly.
Like, we need to take it away from us and go, hang on, like, it's actually if you get that guidance, if you get that feeling, it's like, it's actually your responsibility to then action that, to then share that. Do you see what I mean? Like, you don't know where those messages are going to go. You don't know that. And, I'm sure there's people that are listening that have had experiences where they wish they had said something, or they wish they had done something because they had an inkling of a feeling. And if they actioned that, maybe the outcome would be different. You've got something coming to your mind, don't you?
Yeah, it's like you're speaking to me, but not speaking to me, but you are speaking to me.
Yeah, I am speaking. It's like, yes, I love it.
Oh, this happens every podcast. I was hoping one of them would not be like this, but here we are. Carry on. I'll just sit here and cop it.
You're just like, this is, oh my gosh. Oh my God, I know.
Yeah, anyway.
Yeah. So it's all about like actually actioning that, because at the end of the day, everything that is happening in your world, if there's things that are like negative, how I like to explain is the ego versus intuition. Your ego is the one that is controlling the mind. It's controlling the thoughts. Now, the matrix, the system, has its own ego, low vibrational ego, not run by high vibrations, not run by spirit. It is driven by greed. It is driven by fear. We know that. We don't have to go too much into that.
No.
The intuition, though, also can work with the ego in a beautiful way. And this is where you see people that are, when someone is integrated in both. You meet people that you're like, holy shit. And we talk about ego death, ego death, ego death. I'm without ego. We can't be without ego. We can only be with healthy ego and be aware of our toxic ego.
Yep.
It's like my toxic ego still pops up from time to time. Even last night I had imposter syndrome and I was like, what the fuck are you doing here, imposter? Like, why are you here? Like, what's going on? And then I'm like, okay, I'm a human. It's still showing up. Like, that's okay. I have to try to suppress it or push it down.
Because that's sort of the new age way, isn't it? Like death of the ego and all that sort of stuff. They're really pumping that out. It's like, well, we are, as I said in a walk and talk the other day, we are elements of light and dark. That's not going to change. And what we're mostly afraid of is that light and shining the light on the darkness. We aren't afraid of the darkness. We're afraid of our own light. That's how I sort of see it anyway. We're afraid of that power. Yeah. And I've been there. I've been afraid of my own power. And only in the last probably 6 months, I've really started to embrace that. And yeah, it's rubbed people the wrong way, but this is who I am now. So fuck it.
Get over it, guys.
Yeah. Anyway, I felt the need to say that.
The key part, I love what you just shared, Nathan, about the people are afraid of their lightness. Or
I was one of them. So yes.
Yeah. Actually being like resistant to that and actually resistant stepping into it. It's like, if you're actually led by spirit, like if you're actually truly led by your intuition, the path does not have to be hard. And this is, you were sharing even about the new age, and I want to circle back to that, is because there's this whole push that you have to go through all of these terrible ego deaths and they have to be all yucky and you have to be without an ego. And what I actually truly believe is that's a part of, I guess, this overall agenda to keep people in this cycle that they're never going to feel whole. And you know, I feel whole, even though that I've got so much probably to heal. And I still have so many things. As I said, imposter syndrome turned up on me last night. And I was like, what are you doing here? You know, I've still got so much to heal, but I
Yeah.
actually genuinely feel whole in myself because I've accepted that shame. I've accepted parts of my ego. I've accepted that I can't live without my ego and she can be a pain in the ass, but I've accepted that, you know, and I think that's again is like a broken person again, or someone that feels like they're not whole or feels like they're broken or feels like there's something wrong with them has leaky boundaries and leaky ways where low vibrational energies can penetrate. It's the only word that's coming to mind.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. So how does
Yeah.
one sort of, like, if someone is very conscious, but at a point where they're like, oh, that resonated and they have that lower energy, how does one sort of shift that out and then back into balance or centered? Because that's a question that I find needs answering.
Yes. So for me, the best way that I can answer that, and I'm just going to allow spirit to move this through,
Go for it.
is that it is actually coming back to that integration of both. And I keep hearing the word shame. I keep hearing the word shame coming up. Shame, shame, shame.
Is
If
that for
you're
me?
carrying, oh, it might be. I don't know. Do you have shame?
Oh, I used to.
Yeah. It's like once we can accept that shame, we can build on that and think of it like a foundation. It's like, but and also one thing that I see, it's funny, I'm jumping around here, so you're
That's
just
all
gonna
right.
have to bear with me, guys. But one thing that I see all of the time, and do you know what? Nothing annoys spirit, like nothing annoys spirit, because spirit energy is all love, everything's fine. But I will say, if there is one thing that spirit
Oh
goes,
no.
is deciding, is making the
Oh,
decision.
really?
What did you think I
Ah.
was going to say?
Oh, something to do with me. I,
No.
I I feel like I get the spiritual slap in the face sometimes. I feel like I do annoy him at times.
There's times where, you know, I used to be so hesitant to like saying spirit's testing you because I don't like, because it seems like you have to prove yourself. But
Yeah. So
actually now, yeah.
good question. Who's testing? Well, what is testing us? Is it just us testing ourselves?
Yeah, so I look at it like if you just say someone comes into your life that you've done a lot of healing on this wound. Let's say if it's what's a good call
You can
wound?
relate it to me if you want. My listeners and viewers are pretty much aware of my whole life on this podcast. So
Okay, well let's go with like say relationships.
there
Okay,
we
so
go.
a call wound, you're like, shit, what's she gonna say?
Let's go. Come on.
So let's say a core wound, or just say like there is maybe shame attached to parts of this relationship. Now, just say you called in someone that mirrors your ex or a part of that shame to come up. Now, what that is seeing if you have actually closed the book of that shame or if you still have more healing to do with it.
Mm.
So if you're noticing things coming up, I look at that as like, I look at anyone that triggers me as my guardian angels bringing in a message of something that I haven't healed.
I love that. That's a good way to look at it.
They're
I'm gonna
showing me something that I haven't healed
I'm
within
gonna
myself.
steal that quote and use that now.
Absolutely. That can be the banner of, yeah. So look at it like they're here to show you. Now, I definitely see this with myself as well as like, there's opportunities to excel and there's also opportunities to go back.
Mm.
And everything is just an opportunity. Everything is a choice. Spirit will continue to bring through choices for you. So you get to choose because, again, you have free will over your life. No psychic can tell you otherwise.
Yeah, they just see a certain timeline or timelines that you can choose to step on.
Yep.
And then
I
people
will share.
say, do you get the comment too? This has just come through me now, this question. Completely channeled here. A lot of people out there will go and see someone like you, Tegan. Now, there might be listeners on here that have probably done that. But okay, there has been listeners on here that have done that. And they'll say something along the lines of, oh, such and such told me this was going to happen and it didn't happen. Oh, such and such said that. But it's like, I find that there's elements of work that you need to do an action for that to happen. You're not just going to sit there and wait for the whatever it is. You've got to sort of action that. Yeah, because a lot of people say,
Absolutely.
she said it happened. No, I don't like that psychic because she said it was going to happen and never happened. So that's what people say. How do you answer
that psychic's wrong. Oh, well, I mean, when you're talking, like if the listeners can see me, I'm like eye rolling because I'm like, this is such a topic. I swear to God. And I do my best to educate my clients and my audience on this. Whether you come and see me or you go and see another psychic, I don't care, because I know that if your psychic is under the vibration or the frequency of fear, if you walk out of that reading with more fear, it's a no-go. They're working with other lower vibrational realms. That is true.
Interesting.
Yes. I've seen psychics where they've given me information that they shouldn't have access to. So there's a certain, you go.
What? So explain that. Like information, like really deeply personal, or
like about when someone's going to die.
Oh, okay. That we've gone there. I knew we were going to go there.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
And look, at the end of the day, I might have a reading with someone and I might see that there may be death, not for them, for someone in there. Now, it is me and my ego and my consciousness to go, is this going to add value to their lives? Me telling them that, oh, yep, this person's going to die.
Okay.
Absolutely not. Like if someone can honestly tell me right now, if any of your listeners want to like comment or whatever, and actually tell me if that would add value to their lives, if I was to tell you when your partner is going to die.
I'm going to chop it up as a reel.
Yeah.
I'm going to chop it up. Yeah. We'll definitely add that on the socials.
Like honestly, if you can tell me that that is going to add value, it's the same with relationships. Like I get a lot of people asking about relationships. There's two parts of this. The first part is if I can say that if that client is in danger or it feels like they're really, really, really far from their past, spirit will come in a different way and I will use different language to share with them, hey, we need to probably be relooking this relationship. But there is also sometimes spirit will show me that, yeah, they probably will separate in a year's time. So for me, it's my due diligence to give them the right information that is going to support them on that process. Because if I was to say, you're going to break up in a year's time, they're going to wait till a year's time, aren't they?
Yeah, they
How
are,
much anxiety and fear and stress is that going to be? Because it's going to be like, well, we're getting better, but that psychic told me we're going to break up in a year's time. Do you see what I mean? Like, does that make sense?
Yeah, I do now. Yeah, it does. Yeah. Because I get stuff like that too.
Yes.
In the sessions I do with people. But yeah, it comes through differently for me. But yeah, because I feel like I haven't had one yet. So I don't go there, but I do get it. But I don't go there because I haven't really had one for like 10 years, a relationship and stuff. And yeah, I personally don't feel comfortable sharing about something that I haven't really lived. So I just sort of park it over there in a box and just let spirit bring that out for any way they want to. But yeah, interesting topic, that one, especially the death one too.
Yeah. And maybe spirit is and this is the thing as well, spirit will bring you information. I'm talking like as a reading specifically, or if you're working with clients specifically, or also if you are a highly intuitive and you see something with someone, it doesn't mean that you have to tell them. There are ways that you can handle things delicately.
Yeah, my biggest lesson right there.
Oh, don't worry. I've told lots of people when I used to party all the time and I'd be up very late on very big benders and all the rest of the things. And I would tell, and people used to love having D&Ms with me. And now I know why, because obviously like I would just be channeling through guidance and I will be talking about relationships and like what's going on in their relationship and things like that. And probably gossiping, to be honest. And not knowing that this was all channeled, that I actually shouldn't have had access to that. But because I was engaging in all the low vibrational things, that channel was completely open. So I guess I'm doing my best to educate your audience, is that like, I'm not going to sit here and like withhold information, but there's also like using that discernment with delivering it. This is also when you go and see a psychic, like to make sure it feels aligned for you, make sure that their energy feels aligned. You are allowed to, once you start that reading, you are allowed to say, actually, you know what? I don't feel like we're aligned right now. Because, you know, it's got to be an energetic match with that.
Yeah, agreed.
I feel like I could go on a whole nother tangent with
Nah, it's interesting. So I want to circle back to death because that's a big one, because a lot of psychics will give that timeline. They will. There's ones out there that do.
Absolutely.
So I'm trying to work out this question. How would you not handle it, but how would you, how do you approach that?
Yeah. So to be honest, I actually set the boundary before I get on the call with a client to say, I only want to receive messages for the highest good of them and the highest good of all, their highest timeline.
Love it.
Does telling them that someone's going to die. I have had some people ask me and say, look, my grandfather is unwell. Do you know when he may be, you know, crossover?
Yeah. Okay.
And I will give timelines in those perspectives because it's already somewhat decided in a way, because that soul has already decided that. But if I was just to tell you that and go, hey, I see that such and such is going to die, how are you going to feel about that?
Yeah. Unless I find that too, unless they ask, I don't tell.
Yeah.
That's held me
It's
in good stead.
And this is where we talk about the larger collective consciousness, is that we have so many light workers, we have so many healers that are coming online, which is absolutely incredible. It is so incredible. And there's also the part of it is to ensure that the ego and the intuition is integrated, because if it's not, you will naturally go into the realms of that fear. You will naturally start to share that information of fear, because the energy of like it. I'm just trying to work out the best way of explaining it. Is this making sense? Is this landing? Is this coming through? Yeah,
Yep.
perfect. So yeah, like it's easy to go into that. And I feel, as I said, is like, for me, my mission is to be able to deliver messages of love and clarity and get people on that next path. I have people that will book in, my regular clients that may be going through relationship struggles, and they know at the end that they're probably going to break up with that person. They don't need me to say that. They are wanting from me to support them and give them guidance on the next steps. Because that's at the end of the day what spirit wants. Spirit does not care about the end result of just wanting to know the answers. Spirit cares about the journey. It cares about the evolution. It cares about getting you the best possible outcome for this situation. That's what true source power cares about, is that love.
Love that. I feel that.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. It's easy to go into fear. And this is the thing as well, is like, I've seen this within myself. Definitely when I started, I would get so much information. I remember being at a dinner table with one of my girlfriends, and I could see what was going on so this was like one of my friends, and it was her other friend. So it was like this other group of girls, and their partners were there, and it was all, you know, really lovely evening. And I was sitting there and my channel was wide fucking open, Nathan. Like I was like stuff about everything. And I'm like, oh my God. And I could see that he was having an affair online.
Oh, no.
It wasn't like OnlyFans, but it was like he was doing some kind of webcam-y type of thing, having this relationship. Turns out like a couple of months later, that all came out. Now I can see, now I could have sat there on that table and I would have got so much validation for sharing that information to her. You know what I mean? Like pull her to the toilet and be like, hey, I just saw this. Like, I'm right. You know, I'm this great psychic. It's like, but yeah, it's like, that's my ego. Like, I'm like, and yes, it has all come out. And yes, I have seen how that relationship is going to unfold. And, you know, I don't need to share that with her. I don't need to share that with anyone else. Like, I don't. My beautiful friend had asked me, she goes, oh, do you see like if they're going to separate? And I said, look, I do. And I actually shared that specifically with her because she's very conscious. And in that situation, that's what felt right, because I shared that with my beautiful friend so that she can support that friend as she goes through it and knows that this is what's going on for why that friend is feeling this kind of way. So there's ways to use, you have to use your own discernment and your own intuition. If it's not for the highest path of everyone involved, then it's not worth sharing it.
One of my biggest lessons right there.
Mm.
I've done that
like, do you get
before.
lots of guidance coming through?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I've always had that. And I've put my foot in it by expressing something I probably shouldn't have because it wasn't for that person's highest good.
Yeah.
I've done that a few times, and that's my biggest lessons. And my circle around me are like learning it through me. It's like I'm the one doing it, and they're like, "Yep, we know Nathan's done that now, so we can just circumnavigate our path now." It's like I'm the test
guinea
dummy.
pig.
Yeah, the guinea pig. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the beauty of the journey, though, right? Like, I feel like we're remembering all this stuff. So I'm remembering all this stuff because I've done it so many times. It's like, yeah, it's just a matter of me being like, well, yeah, asking that question, is this going to serve them? Me sharing something that I'm seeing or getting, because I have put my foot in it a couple of times.
Yeah, don't worry, I have in readings, I have with friends and family. And do you know what? Even a couple of weeks ago, I shared something that I was like, fuck, I shouldn't have shared that.
Yeah.
But I just have to forgive myself and go, you know what? That information has come out. There's no point me. I'm aware of it. I sat with it. You know, I felt that shame. I felt that, oh no, what have I done? But then, you know, I've got to move on. And what they choose to do with that information is then them, you know. And then I also then will go back to that thing of going, oh, well, then maybe they were supposed to hear that, you know.
Well, yeah, sometimes I go there as well.
It's just about using discernment. It's just about using, if this is not for the highest good of all involved, then it's not worth speaking.
Interesting. I just want to circle back to another topic. We've gone off but it's come together nicely, but there's one more topic. And now I've forgotten it. How good's that?
It'll come.
It will come. Yeah, no, it will come. Tegan, as a kid, as a child, actually, I think you might have already said it, but did you often see this sort of stuff as a child and were a bit scared of? I know for me, I used to see the big 16-foot beings in my room. So it's like, I used to be scared of that. Did you used to see things like that and you're like, oh, there's something over there and I had a nightlight. Here we go. Here's a personal story for everyone. I had a nightlight till I was 12 because I was shit scared of the dark because of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And isn't it funny? It's like scared. We're through Hollywood and all of those things. It's like we're taught to fear darkness, but the darkness there's so much beauty that comes in the darkness.
Literally.
You know? It's the stillness. It's the slow. It's the inward. So answer to your question, yes, I did. And it's quite funny because the first being that I would always see was a spider. Which is now my spirit animal. Now they show up for me every day, all the time. They're on me. I know, like, it sounds so fucked up, but like I used to hate spiders like most girls growing up and most guys, you know, hate spiders. And now I understand the beauty of them and they're my spirit animal. And I love spiders. Like when they show up, I'm like, yay. Yeah. Spiders symbolize weaving a new web. They are connected with the number 8, which is all around abundance, infinite abundance. Spiders are patient, you know, they wait and they move only when they need to. They just wait. They're patient. Everything comes to them. You know, they sit in their web. You see a spider, they'll just chill in their web for weeks.
Yeah, waiting for a fly to fly in there or something.
Because they attract. They don't chase.
So
I would always see kind of spiders like in real life, but also through, you know, my third eye. And then there was like another being, it's funny you talk about, you know, these 16-foot beings because I do have a 16-foot being and I used to dream about them. And then I did actually a mediumship retreat with an incredible medium in Bali. And we did this exercise where I actually connected with that being. And that's one of my guides. It's a giant. I don't know what else to call him. But
Celestial, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, he's huge and he's this protector and he's this guide. And so that was who has visited me since I was a young girl. So
Interesting.
yeah.
Because I did a light therapy session on the Gold Coast about 3-4 months ago. And here we go. I'm just sharing stuff off the cuff here now. And I had that being that I used to see as a kid present himself. And he's the God I've had since I was born. So I've seen him and then he presented himself and said, "You're about to be initiated, Nathan. Are you ready?" I'm like, "Let's
Oh my God, I
go."
love that.
So, and then he presented himself a week before then too. Like I do a lot of darkness meditations here where I currently live. And I opened my eyes from one of them and he's standing in my kitchen, like up through the roof. And I'm like, oh, it's like that kid was like, but then a week later he presented himself again. And then I got more information. It's like, yeah, he's been there since July 2nd, 1994. Well, prior to
Yeah.
then too. Like he's been there every time. It's like he's just here to help you navigate.
And it's funny, it's like this remembrance. It's like
Yeah, I remember straight
maybe
away.
as a kid, you probably just like thought he's, I don't know, an imaginary being or you're just seeing stuff or
Was.
whatever. But then it's like you get this remembrance and you're like, holy shit, this is actually someone that's been with me my whole life.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I was told, it's all in your head or it's imaginary stuff. It's like, no, it's not. They're
It's
real.
real, guys. It's real, guys. Trust me, it's real. The
And this
woo-woo
is
is
and this
real.
and this is what I want to show and teach children. Like my biggest passion is teaching children this stuff because they're not taught this stuff. It's like a lot of kids do see these things and society says it's woo-woo, it's imaginary friends and all this shit. They're actually real. And it's something that I want to teach our younger generation is that this stuff is real because they can see it already, but they're getting told it's not real. And then that's shutting off their ability. I know it might be their life journey or their soul's journey, but it's still happening. And it makes me a bit passionate.
Yeah, it's so beautiful that you're passionate about that, Nathan, because I couldn't agree with you more. And even from my journey, it's like I watched all of my friends. Like I remember saying to one of my girlfriends in high school, I would go to her house and I would say to her, your dad's here. Your dad wants to talk to you. And like we're like 13, 14-year-old girls. And her mom, the entire family, like I wasn't allowed to go over there because obviously that was so like he died and they wanted nothing to do with anything past that. Now that's okay as a 13-year-old. Like I didn't obviously know the difference with that.
Mm.
But that was sad because it's like spirit, they want to come through. They want to help you. They want to be there. They want to support you. Like all of your guides, we talk about these guides and, what does that even mean? It's like your guides have chosen to support you through this lifetime. It's like you actually get access to an army of really cool beings. Now you can get your imagination and allow your imagination, if you want to call it that, to go crazy, to picture whatever these beings look like. And that's also one thing that I did as a kid is like I would just picture what they would look like. Obviously, I had that connection. And I always say to any of my clients that want to connect to their guys, start with people that you know, start with your past loved ones because they feel safe. They feel certain. You know what they look like. You can imagine them easier. And then what happens is other beings will start to walk through. But as I said, this is just what's so amazing about spirit. And it gets me so excited because there's signs all around us. Like our
Yeah.
loved ones are reaching out. They are dying to connect with us and they are wanting to deliver messages. Our guides are like, sometimes I say to my clients, I'm like, you feel so disconnected from your guides that your guides are sitting up there on their like 50th fucking cup of tea going, come on, give me something to do. We're worrying in our humanness. We're sitting in our humanness going like, oh my God, what's going on with my life? And oh, I don't know about this. And oh, I don't know about that. We all get like that. Don't worry. And your guides are sitting up there going, hey, can you just give me something to do? Like there's no time and space in spirit. They're just sitting up there bored,
Yeah, literally.
So mm.
Very, very, very interesting last few minutes. I just resonate with all of that because I would imagine my loved ones too. And then,
Mm.
yeah, then that would present himself, and then you sort of see everything else from that. Yeah, I can, because when I did my Reiki mastery, I had that all just pop open, and it was pretty cool. So
Yep.
yeah, it started then, that process of dealing with, or not dealing, help processing and shifting that energy and being able to handle it and do good with it, rather than, you know,
Do
what
shit
happened to
with
me,
it.
what happened to me in a past life, what I told you about before.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's awesome. It's awesome to connect in and like even meditate. I say to people all the time, it's like doing long meditations. Like, yeah, I love doing like going on a journey for like an hour or however long and just really embracing myself in that. But the
Mm.
best thing that you can do is actually just start asking out loud or even prayer. You know, we think that prayer is like you can only do it if you're religious. Absolutely not. I pray all the time and I just pray, and it's just my way of having conversations with God, with, you know, the higher realms, with my guides, and to say, you know, I would absolutely love if you could support me with whatever it is, you know. Oh, I just want to support me if you can just help me have like an easy day. I just feel a little bit stressed. Are you able to just to help take some of that stress off? Bang. With you doing that, you've just given them permission, because again, spirit can't intervene.
Intervene without permission.
You have free will over your life, just like how I was sharing about the psychics. You know, we cannot intervene. If this is your path that's coming and that's what your path is, I can talk about the outcomes. I can talk about the various different paths, but I can't be there to dictate it. You see what I mean?
Yeah, it's our job. Well, not it's our responsibility, because we're making the choices. You're just seeing multiple upon multiple timelines for the choices that we're about to or have already made, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
makes sense.
absolutely. Absolutely. So, yes.
Interesting. Got another question for you, Tegan. So if there's someone out there listening to this that's resonated with all this stuff, and they're like, oh, I see that, or I feel that, or I have had these experiences, or whatever, what would you say to that person that's young or old, about to start that journey into the working with spirit? I feel
Mhm.
that's about to start that journey of their spiritual path in terms of what they're about to unlock, and they can.
Mhm.
That's like, I see that, Nathan and Tegan. I mean, yeah. What would you say to that person who's about to start their journey on with all the spiritual stuff?
Mhm. Don't get wrapped up in all of the noise of the spiritual space, because
Ooh.
it is just as loud as any other space we delve into. And this is probably a huge topic, although I will just simplify it, is when you start to awaken, the truth of your awakening is within, is not what any other person is going to dictate. I am all about bringing that power back within, because the moment you start to hand power away, that is where you lose yourself more and more. And this is one thing that I did when I started to awaken. I was giving my power to, I was doing every healing modality and doing all of these courses and needing to fix myself, fix myself, because I felt like I was so broken. And the true power is actually within. The true power is connecting in with yourself, being slow, being present. That is where that true power is. However, you do that is up to you. If you want to work with a mentor, great. If you want to do breath work, great. Whatever works for you is great. But don't get swept up in all of the noise and feeling like, oh, I've got to do like this fucking 20-step morning routine. Or if I don't meditate this day, I'm further behind than other people. No, that's your ego.
Correct. Because I find like giving clients a list of shit to do doesn't necessarily help that. It's like, well, what do you feel like you should do? Like, you
Mhm.
can say, yeah, journaling's great. Like, I love journaling and writing, but that might not work for Tegan. It's like finding what you want to do. So you might want to go for a walk instead, or sit with a tree. Like, there's so many.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like finding what works for you. It's like we can give you the stuff. It's like you don't have to do everything on the list. It's like that's just the stuff that
Mm.
works for us. Like for me, I'll go down to the gym and I'll go for a walk, and I'll go for a run, and I'll exercise. That works for me. That might not work for someone else. They might want to sit in stillness, which I've gotten a shit ton better at in the last couple of weeks too, is just finding that stillness.
Mm-hmm. Mhm.
and
Yeah.
appreciating the moment of where I am. Like where I live is pretty awesome. So it's like enjoying that moment of looking out at wherever it is, Glass House Mountains or the beach or whatever.
Yeah. Oh,
Mm.
beautiful. Glasshouse Mountain sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty energetic. That place is very, very powerful.
Very special. Yeah,
Mm.
that's it. Is like working out what feels good for you
Yeah,
and to not
that's
compare, to not look sideways, or she's doing that, or he's doing that, and I should do it like that, or I should buy all of these crystals, or I should buy all of these cards to do that. It's like, no, no, just come back to yourself, connecting with yourself, do that either through, you can do that with prayer and find what's your own practice and what feels good for you.
yeah. I love that. And Tegan, that was a really awesome podcast. That I've shared some stuff today as more listeners have got to know me more as well as you. If there's someone out there, Tegan, where can people find you? Instagram, I would assume, and where else?
I'm Instagram. I'm refusing TikTok. I don't know why. I think it's probably a bit of my ego, but we're working on that.
I've got TikTok. It's an interesting app. I got TikTok.
Yeah. Do you
Yeah.
post on it a lot?
Yeah, I do. I find that the algorithm's different. Like I can get this is interesting for people that want to be creators. I find that the algorithm, like I'll get more views on TikTok sometimes than Instagram, but then it will work the opposite way. But it's the same video, the same caption, the same whatever. It's just I don't know. I don't know how the algorithm works, but there's videos that go up and videos that go down on either app, but one of them gets more and the other one gets nothing. I don't know.
It's such a whole algorithm, schmalgorithm. It's too much. I can't
It
deal.
is. But TikTok is interesting because there's a lot of spiritual people on there too. So
Yeah. Yeah. And there's a lot of amazing guidance and a lot of amazing, perspectives on there. For me, I am on Instagram, which is at Tegan Judd, TEGANJUDD. That is virtually my best place to find me. I do have a website, teganjudd.com.au.
yep.
I do have an incredible course launching very soon, which is all around ego and intuition. So if there's anyone that was wanting to understand or learn about their ego and how it's kind of been running their world, that's definitely a course that may spark your interest.
Yep. So there'll be a link to that. We'll put a link to that at the bottom too, a direct link to that course. All the info will be on there. Tegan, thank you so much for sharing all that you shared today. You have a lot to share, so we need to probably do a part 2 and delve into some other topics, I think.
I know. I'm like, I just keep going. I'm so sorry, guys.
No, that's okay. It's fine. I'm really glad Spirit brought us together. I don't even know how it happened, but I found your Instagram, and a few months later, here we are. I had an interesting day today before this too. So, yeah, thank you for sharing all that you shared today, Tegan. This has been the Breaking Free podcast. I'm your host, Nathan Francis. I'll see you guys again real soon with some more awesome guests, so stay tuned. Tegan will jump back on before the end of the year because I feel like we're going to do this again. So
let's schedule it now.
Yeah, we'll schedule it right now. Tegan, thank you so much. I'll talk to you guys soon. Cheers.